Forget that. I shall share the link of today's session on the YouTube platform for anybody to revisit this. So that's one of the reasons why recording is being done. So before we start, good evening, everybody. Nice to see a small initiative on the online platform, which I'm actually, to be very honest, I'm doing it free of cost. Earlier, I had done a lot of programs on a paid basis. Let me tell you, by the end of today, you will understand why I am doing it free. I'll be very honest to admit it, candid to admit it, why this program is a session of free sessions that we have planned every first and third Saturdays. You will get the answer. If not, you can again button at the end. Some golden rules in my session. Anytime anybody wants to speak, just unmute yourself and just ask me questions or have a interaction. Absolutely fine. Let's not wait or take discussions to the end, because I believe that when during the flow, if there is a particular question that comes, it actually enhances the discussion and we can take it to the next level. So that's one request from people. Any point in time you want to have a discussion or beg to differ with an opinion, we can have a nice discussion, because nothing is right, nothing is wrong in this world. It's all about a matter of perception, and I might get a new perception talking to you all, so it's absolutely fine. So let's have a open discussion. Third point, humble request, those who can come in camera, request you to come in camera. It's not compulsory, but I have noticed that during an online sessions, if there are people who come on camera, it makes it look like there's a real-time meeting happening. Otherwise, it looks like I'm talking to name boards and billboards. Okay, so that's one request. Again, it might be an issue of bandwidth or an issue of anything which you face. Absolutely fine. It's not compulsory, but if you are on camera, nothing like it. That's a request. Okay, so let's get started with today's session. The first part which I wanted to share is about personal branding, but before that, I wanted to ask a question to everybody, which we had already kind of started. So I just will take 1 minute on this preamble. I am going with the basic understanding that we all know what is brand. We are all MBA faculties. Of course, we can discuss in detail. I'll be throwing certain lights from an application perspective of brand, the product life cycle, and there's a BCG matrix. But I hope there is a little bit of basic overview which you know about this. If not, I will repeat it during the time when we start discussing on the application of this for our personal branding. So this is a small preamble. So let's now come and start the first paradigm. In fact, before all joined, we had a small discussion on, should faculties brand ourselves? Is it right to brand, or is it wrong to brand, or is it debatable? You have positive views, negative views. Can somebody just throw in their opinions, both sides if you have any, or one side if you have any? Just anybody? Is self-branding good? Anybody? Just what is the first thoughts that's coming to your mind? Just speak out. Yes, Sima sir.
No, people.
I think branding happens automatically depending on the quality of lecture we deliver. Okay. So as faculties, students recognize us by our names.
Okay.
So I feel branding is more of an automatic thing that continues to happen and keeps growing with the way we deliver our lectures.
Okay, sir, I'm just making some notes. You made one point, the way we take our lectures. Okay, is lecture the only way to brand ourselves?
Definitely not.
Okay, that's one point which I wanted to hit on. Lectures might not be the only way we might brand ourselves. That could be other ways as well.
No, that is one of the ways, but that is primary interaction that we have with students.
Perfect.
Of course, the what content we deliver, how we help them, how we assist them, how we take care of them. There are n number of things. Perfect. But what I meant is our overall interaction with the students itself leads to a kind of branding of ourselves with them.
So basically, the point that you're saying is a very valid point. You're saying whether you consciously build a brand or not, branding is happening.
Yeah,
I mean, exactly. Absolutely true. That's the basis of brand. Whether you consciously brand or you don't brand yourself, branding is happening. We don't have a say in that. Okay. Sima sir, you were sharing something. Sorry.
Yeah. No. When see, sometimes when we try to interact with the students, trying to give our examples from our own, experiences. Of course, I have also been, into the kind of sales and all these things. When you try to give, so they keep on, think, this guy is talking of his stories. Like, is it necessary? You can make out the pulse on their faces. Okay, fine. Started his stories.
Fair enough. Sir, this aspect I will not be covering it in brand. Probably one of the future sessions I have planned something on influencing people, so that we can probably incorporate it there. From a brand perspective, I'll restrict myself today to only one topic. I mean, this part of discussion. Is self-branding good or bad? Anybody who says it's absolutely necessary or good, bad, necessary, you want to add a word necessary, evil, I'll give you that benefit of doubt as well. You want to add that word as well.
I mean,
Okay.
hello.
Somebody needs to please mute. Somebody. Yeah. Okay. Let me check if I can mute people. I have to close the slide share. Okay. Our work will brand myself. Yashoda ma'am has said yes. Yeah, Durai sir, you were saying something.
Yeah, being in this field, not just lecturing, people are watching us every time, and they are very smart now. They get impressed by looking at us itself. So to be very frank, I have quit a bad habit I have been having for years after I joined teaching, because I feel that these guys are looking at me and I need to be a role model for them.
So basically,
So,
you're coming out of the nice point that brand is not happening only on the lecture field. It's happening 360 degrees, 24/7.
Yes,
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Okay. So let's now come, and I just wanted to start the session with one example, which is very clear. Nature itself brands, whether you like it or not. Nature itself is also branding. Flowers having their colors is also a kind of brand to attract the bees. Okay. And now there are two things which I'm bringing slowly into brands. One is the ability to attract, and second, the ability to hold on to attention. Okay, bees would never come to a flower which is not colorful. Okay, and having come to it, they don't come the second time or the third time if the nectar is not there in the flower. Okay, so nectar part holds on to the brand. It's very easy to gain attention, but holding on to attention is equally important. Okay, I'm bringing two parts in a very simple layman terms for people who are from the finance background also. Very simple layman terms. Branding is the ability to hold up, get attention. And the second very important aspect is holding on to attention. If you ask me which is important, I will say both is important. Okay, if you can't get attention, you are of no use. I'll give classic examples of very strong brands which are not able to get attention. One of the biggest examples was this company which actually closed down because Big Basket became in a big way. I forgot the name of the company. Okay, olden times, or let me give you an easier example. Linux, Red Hat Linux. Okay, one of the best operating systems in today's world. But unfortunately, Windows knew how to sell themselves or how to position themselves. They are there in the market as a leaders, strongest player. So understand something. If you are not able to create attention, having good quality nectar is of no use. Second point, if you're able to get attention and you're not able to hold on to your customers, that is equally dangerous. So both are equally important, and you can't put one in per se or the other, especially. But yes, if you still want to put something because of the precedence, because holding on to attention can never happen without getting attention. So only because of precedence, which comes first, you can probably give a little bit extra tick mark from a getting attention perspective. So now comes to the killer question. Let's have a threadbare discussion. No hard feelings in case I say something and somebody feels offended. It's more from an interactive session. Do we have a product portfolio? Which I'm bringing the second point, which the sir from Gulbarga sir said. Branding is where lectures is not the only way. We all agreed lecture is not the only way. So can I ask, do we have a product portfolio other than lectures? Our lectures is definitely one product portfolio which we have, one product which we have, which we can do to gain or create a brand. Any other product portfolios we have as a lecturer. It's absolutely fine if we don't have, but at least from today, let us start focusing on creating a product portfolio. If you're able to do that, I think there's some justice done to us today's course. So anybody else, do you have a product portfolio? If not, no worries. Anybody?
we have positive attitude is one portfolio. By looking us, they should approach life positively.
Okay. Now,
we should never
so is
have
that
a
quality
negative
or is that a quality or is it a product portfolio?
I think it's a quality.
It's a quality. It's not a product portfolio. That quality can be used to enhance some other products that we have. In fact, I have compiled a list of around 7 to 8 product portfolios which all of us can have. Okay. And there will be definitely much more than that. I'm sure about it. Whatever came to my mind and something which I have been practicing, I have listed it. But there are a lot of other product portfolios which we can. But I just want to kickstart the thinking process in a faculty's mind. Do we have any other product portfolios which we do?
We can be their guides in several aspects.
Mentoring.
Mentoring.
Perfect.
And Then maybe extracurricular activities which are not related. So that is there. Their career guidance is another one where we
Perfect.
can guide them. So
Perfect.
apart from this, social activities are there where we can be role models for them. So
Perfect.
these are kind of things.
Right. Anything else? Anything else which we
So we should be facilitators for them. They
lovely.
have all the potentials.
We can be a facilitator, ma'am, but I'm asking, do we have a product offering? When I say a product offering, it could be a service offering. Let's not go with the name product. In brands, product could also be products as service. I'm saying, do we have a service offering? Like we say, I take lectures, I do workshops. These are product or service offerings that I have. So like this, do we have mentoring? Can be mentoring can be a service offering. Consultants
Counseling.
can be a service offering. Something
Counsel.
else. Counseling can be a
Yes.
product offering. Perfect.
Product.
Anything else?
Etiquettes.
Yeah, we can give a lot of job references, right? We can make them, group members, and we can offer them a lot of
Let's
job
make it very
references.
simple. Placements can be a
Placement.
placement can be a product offering. If I am very strong in networking, I can bring to the table to the college or to individuals as an offering. Okay, this is my product offering. I am needed in, I am a brand in this college because I bring companies to this college. Or the other way around, I am a brand in this college because I can make sure that our students get placed in such companies because of my training or whatever. So training and placements can also be a product offering. I'm just throwing out different avenues which probably were there in our mind, but we never rummaged through it to think about, oh, this could also be a product offering. And you find out which suits you, because everybody will not be able to do everything. But we need to find out which kind of service offering I can bring to the table where I can create a niche brand for myself. That's the entire objective of today's program. So let us,
Yeah.
yeah,
Event
anything-
management, sir. Event management.
Event management 100% required for a B school.
Yes.
Probably,
For a faculty. Yes.
man, forget faculties. Even if you're doing it for the students or a college, you are getting an admissions now. Let's be honest.
Yes, sir.
Event management is predominantly done. Okay, event management is done probably 99.9% to feeder colleges. So that feeder colleges
Yes.
come experience your college. Once they experience your college, okay, there is a chance that they will get admission into your college. Nothing wrong. And that is exactly, I was about to answer this in the end. That is one of my purposes of doing these sessions free of cost, because this is my feeder session. Okay, I'm sorry for being blunt. But at the end of the day, there are a lot of people in this group who don't know me, see me for the first time. So they get a hang of, okay, this is the trailer of the event. So probably that could be something else that can be taken. So it's absolutely fine. Event management is a product offering from a faculty's perspective. There are a few more which I will share with you, and I'll give you strategies to pick up or qualities that you need to reinforce in yourself so that these things can be taken to the next level. Okay, and of course, it will be a little bit of marketing gyan because at the end of the branding is nothing but marketing. So let us get started with the slide share. I come back to the slide share. So having Ramesh to your mind, now here is one question which I want to ask. Most of the time, with due respects, nothing personal against anybody, somewhere faculties which I have seen are getting lost because they tend to give what they have rather than understanding what people or your stakeholders, I will not use the word customers here, but what your stakeholders want. I think this is one aspect we need to rework on. Okay, because 99.9% of the time we have something, we just push ourselves, okay, this is my strength, this is my forte, and we start focusing on that. And stakeholders or students or your co-faculty members or your college or your prospective admission, whoever is your target segment or target customers in this particular aspect, we tend to give them what we have without understanding what they want. Now, one small example, I'm just going a little bit deviating to the topic because one gentleman asked me a question, how to hold on to students' attention. When I'm giving them examples, sometimes they feel this is not relevant to them. Yes, it could happen. It happens to me also sometimes. So that is one area where we need to rework on the examples part of it and probably find out what excites them. If your audience does not want examples, don't give them examples. This is my humble suggestion. Give them a case study, a hypothetical case study, let them debate on it and then find out. That could be one way. But there are ways to find out what they want and tweak our program or tweak our this thing to give them what they want with our aspects of what is needed to be given, taken care of. So with this, let's come to the first slide. Some of the product portfolios which we have already discussed, I am just sharing a list which came to my mind. Of course, there will be a lot more. Okay, but there is a small growth path which I have said. If somebody started the teaching career, teaching sessions will by default be there. Your classroom sessions, your online sessions, expert sessions. you might get chances to go to other colleges to speak on contents, or to some other companies and go and speak on your expert. So that is the next level graduation. Research papers and case study creations go hand in hand. It could be a case study, both need research. Research papers also need research, case study papers also need research to be done. So that is one more product portfolio. Good case studies and good research works can get you money. I'm sorry for being blunt. Yes, good case studies. And I myself purchase case studies from various websites for some of the topics which I need to cover. So I'm just muting a few people who are noise coming. One second. Manjira ma'am, can you just mute yourself, please? Hello. 1 second. Unable to mute people. Yeah. Okay. Those who are not talking, please put yourself on the mute. Thank you. Okay. Authoring of textbooks. That's one more avenue area. You can start working on. Manjira ma'am, can you just mute yourself, please? 1 second. Let me come to this and mute. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. So where was I? Yeah. Authoring textbooks is a nice way where you can actually go ahead and create a market or a brand for yourself. Today, I mean, one new thing has evolved. Become a YouTuber. Okay. Now, YouTuber predominantly comes with dance, song, creative talent. But now that we have started taking so many online sessions, don't you think we can create programs and put it on the YouTube and actually make revenue out of it? And the best part about it, you are going to be in a profession where your audiences are going to come every year, if not trying out for new audiences outside through natural networking. Even by default, you will find people coming into your YouTube. So that is one avenue which is actually open thanks to COVID. So I think start focusing a little bit on creating videos on YouTube and uploading them. That's a nice avenue. It increases your brand, especially on the internet world as well. Collaborations, that's where event management things come in. Placements can come in, placement training can come in, consulting assignments for companies, get into consulting boards as B-School faculties. That should be one of your aims that you look out for. It's if you have content and if you are able to be articulate, I can still tell you there are a lot of companies which want you on there to give them consultancy. You can start pro bono. Basically, I don't know how you pronounce that, basically doing it free of cost. 1 or 2 companies do consulting free of cost. That gives you a little bit of experience, that gives you a little bit of hold, understanding the pulse of the audience, pulse of companies, pulse of customers, and then you can start working it on a scalable model where you actually retainership fees or on a monthly billing or on target revenue building, whatever. But you can bring to that table because we have the gyan. I mean, we have the knowledge. I'm giving it a fact. We have the knowledge. It's only about applying that knowledge into the relevant areas. So that's one more area. Then the ultimate aim of getting into advisory board of companies, mentorship, starting startups, mentoring startups. The list is lots of list. These are some of the things which came to mind from a product portfolio perspective. I am sure the list is not final. There are a lot of things which can be added. So going further, now one more thing which I wanted to spend some time on. There's a huge myth: marketing and selling. Can somebody tell me in layman terms what is marketing and what is sales? Layman terms, easy to understand. Jargons, bada. Let's keep the jargons aside. Without jargons, marketing. What is marketing? What is sales?
Marketing is
the primary step in which you bring the awareness about your existing in the market.
Fair enough. Bringing awareness is one point. Okay, accepted. Yes, sir. Somebody else.
Marketing is basically fulfilling the needs and wants of customers after identifying their needs and wants. Whereas selling is offering what we have, maybe type of hard sell. That is what I have, just offer it to the market. If they want,
so sir, one second. What I have, there can be some. Okay, architect. What does he do? Market or sales?
Pardon?
Architect. Marketing or sales?
Architect, if he finds out the needs of the person and then designs the building, it is marketing.
Okay.
He just use the designs, select the design, that is selling.
No, sir. Sir, small beg to differ. Sorry. In sales, what you said is absolutely right in terms of a lot of points which came on creating awareness, marketing, pick one. But selling has got two things. One is called product selling and one has got solution selling. Okay. So architect will come still under solution selling, or what we call as B2B sales kind of a scenario where you understand the problem of the customer and then sell. I'll give you an easier example. architect was easy to understand, but from the same company doing marketing and sales, say software. When I use the word software, okay, if I am a company like Infosys, okay, I understand I will have a salesperson. He will go to a bank and say that we have Finacle as our software, but that Finacle has to be customized to the bank's requirements. That is what he is finding the needs of the customer, and then say we have a solution, and he pushes the product to him. Okay, so predominantly that's it. Antivirus companies are marketing. I have a software which I push to the market. You know, that is predominantly from marketing. You go and hear the radio jingle. What is that? There are various antivirus companies that come in. AG, you name them, or Reliance comes in. That's predominantly from a marketing perspective, and then you push the product to the consumer. A simpler words, pulling customer towards you, marketing. Pushing the product, sales. I mean, easy to understand. Pulling people, marketing. Pushing the product, sales. But there is one thing which I want you all to understand. Marketing need not be done only to prospective customers. In the ambit of marketing, it goes to everybody, and even a non-consumer, a non-target segment person also might get influenced by your marketing. One classic example which I always give. So let me just tell you, what does Cafe Coffee Day market? Can somebody share this? What does Cafe Coffee Day market?
Sentiments.
Experience.
Experience, absolutely right. If your answer was something like coffee, hold on, not exactly right. Cafe Coffee Day, ideally speaking, the moment I say Cafe Coffee Day, what comes to people's minds is that we can go there and spend the time. Absolutely. So predominantly what they say is we market space, or हम लोग space देते हैं, come spend time. By default, you know, you spend 3 hours, 400-500 rupees is going to be spent. So predominantly that is one aspect. But this thought that marketing, that Cafe Coffee Day means spending time, has been pushed into our minds. That is the aspect of marketing. That is why their tagline, a lot can happen over coffee. They never said best coffee here, filter coffee here, hygienic coffee here, high quality coffee here. And understand everywhere, A to B, one thought will come. Saravana Bhavan, a lot of people from Tamil Nadu. So Saravana Bhavan, one call, vegetarian food, high quality vegetarian food will come. Some people it might come even pricey, but there were 3 different brands which you got pushed into your mind. So, you know, you have a separate brand. There was a beautiful article about this Triplican. I'm sure all people from Tamil Nadu will know. That's a Ratna Cafe, famous for its idli. They're one of the strongest idli brands that I have said, and the brand has not come because of idli, it's come because of sambar. Okay, that is given free of cost to that. So understand, the moment I say Ratna Cafe, it's idli sambar. You know, that's what comes to your mind. You go talk about Pune, Chitle Joshi, Bakarwadi, and Lakshmi this thing, Belpuri. You know, Goli Vada Pav. So these are all strong brands, and Goli Vada Pav is not a strong brand in Maharashtra. It is stronger brand outside Maharashtra, because there the Vada Pav itself has become a brand rather than the quality or the taste or ability to have it. So predominantly, what I'm sharing is, let us understand one small thing. Marketing is pulling customers towards you, and sales is the fulfilling of the need generated, which we have said. This is very layman terms, but this is required because in 2-3 slides later I am going to use this. Okay, or in other words, the color which I said is marketing, and the nectar that you have which you are going to give to the bees is sales. Okay, so going further, now let us talk to about one small example, and then we'll take it up. I want one volunteer. Dorai sir, can I pick you as a volunteer? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Dorai sir, what do you think? Why I am sharing this is because sales cannot be ignored. I'm coming to a very hard-hitting fact, especially to faculties. Sales cannot be and should not be ignored. So how many people here, can you give me a thumbs up if you feel sales is bad? Please be honest. Please be honest. If anybody feels, on the reaction button, just tell that sales is bad, give me a thumbs up. Sales people lie. Sales people jhoot bolte hain. Sales people ullu banate hain. You know, any of those things, sales bola to a bad thought comes to your mind. Please give me a thumbs up. It's absolutely fine. I respect it, because I want to remove that cobweb. That's one of the reasons I'm spending some time. Anybody feeling bad that sales is a bad? Okay, I have got Simas are honest. Nothing. Sir, only 1% feels sales is bad. Come on. You go outside and talk to people, sales ka career chahiye, so people will say, hey, don't.
No, you are selling the idea to use the thumbs up.
No. To be very very honest, I would like a lot of people to say,
it was on the lighter side. I said that.
I got it. No, in fact, I wanted people to say sales is a bad profession to be in. Then it makes my job much more tougher. Okay, since we still have the same. Now, let me tell you one thing. Okay, my internet connection is unstable. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Okay. Dorai sir, for two things. Okay, sales brings in revenue, it's the soul of business. Okay, absolutely fine. But how many people comfortable doing selling? Okay. But like Anuradha ma'am said, I'm just taking that lighter note also very seriously. There is one thing. If 4 people decide to watch a movie suggested by you, have we not sold our idea to them? Why should always sales be considered as something which gets you money in return? Not necessarily. You can sell your ideas, you can sell your concepts, you can sell your arguments. So sales is predominantly something where you, I don't want to use the word convince others, but yes, putting up your idea which gets accepted, yes. Now I'll go and bring in something with respect to revenue generation also. Let us understand that part also before we jump into a case. Durai sir, for 2 minutes, think that you are doctor, an MBBS doctor.
Okay.
Okay, Durai sir, you are MBBS doctor. Don't start prescribing medicines and all, but it's okay. Yeah, COVID times and business jabardast. Okay, so 2 minutes. Just think that you're a doctor. I am a patient. Okay, and I have come to your clinic. What is the first interaction? How will the interaction happen between you and me? Okay, start.
How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Then why
Sorry,
are you
I'm patient. No, sorry, I forgot. Okay, I got into the flow. Okay, nice, sir. I've got some bad stomach aches.
Yeah, for how many hours or days do you have this problem?
So it's been there from yesterday evening, sir. And then occasionally it comes once in a week or once in 2 weeks.
Oh, what are the occasions when it comes? You say that it comes in occasions. Let us find out the reason. What are the occasions that it comes?
Okay, sir. I don't know exactly. I have not monitored that.
Just imagine. Have you had when you had hard, spicy items? Does it come, or does it come after you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Does it ache or does it pinch your stomach?
Okay, fine. What are you trying to do? Now I'm asking Durai sir the question. As a doctor, what were you trying to do?
I am trying to find out the reasons behind the ache. Is it a one-time ache?
So what am I telling you? What am I telling you? Others can also.
Your experience. What happened when aching? And you are trying to remember based on your questions also what were the occasions that came into. Because patients might not know what their
now I am asking a question to everybody in this room. When a doctor, after basically what you did was what we call as diagnosis.
Yes.
Diagnosis is to find out the root cause of the problem. You are trying to find out what is the root cause of this problem. Correct, sir? Point taken.
Yeah.
So what am I telling you? I am not telling you my problems. I am telling you my symptoms. Okay. Now, suppose you got all clear symptoms and you were able to diagnose the problem. I'm giving you a suggestion that you are able to diagnose the problem. After diagnosing, when you give me a medicine, Ramani, take this medicine 4 times a day for the next 5 days. Take this medicines once before going to bed and one syrup 3 times a day. Okay, you have given me this medicine. Now, I want all of the people in this room, when a doctor gives you a medicine, have you ever asked the question to the doctor, doctor, why should I take this company's medicine? Can I take this company's medicine, which is the same tablet? Any person in this room has done that or ever thought of doing it? Now, I'll ask a small question. Didn't the doctor sell you a brand? Did we ever question the doctor? Why? Because there were 2-3 points. One was value. First point was, I'm running short. I normally put this in an interactive session. First was value for the value was created. You saw value in the doctor. Only because we saw value, the moment you, first of all, giving information only comes when you see value. If you don't see value, you will not give information. I will not tell to Dr. Durai sir, my stomach is paining. I'll give an example. Highway mein, there are these Maruti vans standing with big Maruti vans with one poster outside, and he has kept a lot of bottles, and one loudspeaker mein one song goes, any disease we will cure, any disease we will cure, one video is playing. Will you even go to that person and tell him I have got stomach pain? You don't give information to anybody, but you gave information to this person only because we saw value. And when that person told you this is what you need to do, we did it. We didn't even question it. We didn't even ask why this. Doctor says go and take your ECG. We don't even ask why ECG.
Is it also because of the trust?
Trust comes because of value. Ma'am, no, it's not because of trust. No, it's not because of trust. Sorry, I said because of value. No, it's not because. I'll give an example. I have got a small pain in my example. I've got a small pain in my heart. If you tell me go and do an ECG, I will not do. I might trust you. My father, I might trust my father. My father tells go and do this, I might not do. But when the doctor says I see value, that's why I do. So it's not always trust. I'll give one more example. That is the wall hanging which is kept in a particular this thing. A Vastu consultant sometimes says family portraits, don't put it here, you will change it. But if your relative comes and says whom you trust a lot, hey, don't keep it here, you will still say, who are you? Say, okay, you will say, but you will not do it. So trust does not bring in this. Value only brings that.
No, we trust a doctor because we know he has some solution, or we give him a lot of value, right?
Ma'am, no, trust is different, value is different. I'll give it. If we trust a doctor, we will not do a second opinion.
But there also we go and take for major things.
We take a second opinion because of lack of trust, not because of lack of value.
Okay.
And just correlating. I'm also thinking. We take a second opinion not because of lack of value, not lack of knowledge of the doctor. We don't doubt the doctor. We want a second opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if there another option which could have been seen, it's not because that we did not see the point which he had was right or wrong. But trust is right or wrong. It is not about any other option. It's either do it or don't do it. Because trust actually is an emotion. It defies logic. Value comes from a lot of logic building. Value gets built over a period of time. Trust is most often instinctive. Instinctively you like somebody, or instinctively you don't like somebody. So that's a small difference. Okay, maybe we can take this offline. But normally it is from a value perspective. Now there are four different. One thing which I want. Somebody said no. Can those who have said no? Can you tell me no is for what? Those who have texted no on the chat, I'm a bit confused. Disagreeing or is an answer to some question which I asked?
Now you asked, will you go to a? Have you ever asked a question to the doctor?
Okay. Because I saw 3 no's. Ravi sir knows that. Okay. So going further, don't ask why medicine. Okay, fine. So let's continue further. So now I'm coming to the aspect. Remember this aspect of this thing of a doctor. A doctor, according to me, if a salesperson or becomes a sales consultant, okay, this is the difference between a salesman and a sales consultant. When you give value to your stakeholders, you go to that next level of consulting and people see the value in you. That is the key. And always remember the doctor's example. If you are able to do everything that a doctor does, okay, trust me, your career will go great heights because you start building in good intrinsic value. Good salespeople, even today, LIC ka jo policy, the old people who remind you 1 week ahead of your policy time, that is one of the qualities of an LIC agent who calls you 1 week. Sometimes they pay the premium and say, I've paid the premium for you, give me the money back. That's the level of customer service that they do. They have built a brand because of the value of service that they have given. So please focus on the doctor example to analyze anything in sales. Sales is probably the easiest thing to do if you can create value. It's all about value creation. Now, from a behavioral perspective, you are meeting somebody for the first time. You are meeting your student for the first time. You are meeting your client for the first time. You are meeting your virtual audience for the first time. I'm meeting a lot of people for the first time. There are 4 parametrics. Let me share the screen here. So let us understand this metrics. Okay. There are 4 characteristics which come. Hostile plus strong, friendly plus strong, friendly plus weak, hostile plus weak. Value creation happens only in that one quadrant, which is friendly plus strong. I'll give an example. If the doctor is strong in concepts, but is not willing to even talk to you, is hostile to you, this person does not give. It was same scenario with Durai sir and me. Patient comes to me, what happened to you? Sir, yesterday I have got pain. Okay, take this tablet. Okay, value is not created. The doctor was hostile. He might have been the most knowledgeable person, but he has got a huge number of patients to see. That is why he was strong but hostile. Value does not get created. Hostile plus weak, no point talking. Okay, let us just ignore that. Content bhi nahi hai and the person is hostile, then no use. So let us ignore that. Friendly plus weak. Now this is one balance which I want to share for faculty members. Build a balance of being friendly plus strong. Friendly plus weak is dangerous. Okay, because we are talking about the next generation students. You have content, but sometimes if content is given, please take, the student will stand on his shoulders and keep his foot here. And that happens to anybody. It's not only with students, but when there is a generation gap between two generations, customer and this thing, this happens. So you have to be friendly, but you still have to be content wise. You have to still maintain that. So you cannot be weak. You have to be strong. That's a difference between being friendly and being weak. So that balance we need to work on. Sometimes what happens is today I'm with due respect to all faculties, I personally am opposed when the feedback session of our sessions come. Students are asked one question. Okay, did the faculty have enough knowledge to conduct the session? Now this one question I say, how can you ask a patient, did the doctor have enough knowledge to conduct the operation? I mean, I don't know what logic is that. Okay, but that's the problem. You can never ask the patient. Another doctor can evaluate a doctor. Okay, yes. Another faculty can evaluate a faculty. Yes. But asking a student, did the faculty have enough knowledge to conduct the session? I find that question absurd. Let us not talk about it. But sometimes in a bid to get good favorable responses from students, people become too pally. Okay, becoming too weak. I don't use the word friendly. They become too weak. And that is one area you need, because what happens is inherently you are not creating a value. You are actually downgrading your value even in front of the students who probably give you good feedback. So please take a little bit care on that one aspect. So let us come straight to the subject which we were talking of today. Okay, I just did this. I did this. Yes. So let us talk more about value proposition, the crux of brand. It's actually not the trisection of. It's a very beautiful picture which is there. There is a three-way circles, three Venn diagram. What customers want, it could be stakeholders, it could be students, it could be audience. You just put basically on whom that product portfolio or the product is catering to. What you do well, your inherent qualities or your picked up skills, and don't get into that area where competition also is there and doing well. Okay, one classic example why we say don't get into that area is simple, because it is very marketing ka one very important usul we say. It is better to get a 90% market share in a 10% market segment. If there are no players there, you become a strong brand. I'll give one small example or two examples so that people can understand. Say, let us talk about anybody from Mangalore here? Mangalore, Mangalore. Anybody? Give me a thumbs up. Or anybody has been to Mangalore? Nobody from Mangalore? I thought there were a few people from Mangalore. Anybody from Mangalore? Or all of you are busy watching matches? Okay. Yashoda ma'am is from Mangalore. Okay. Yeah. So there is a brand of ice creams in Mangalore. I'm sure you would have immediately guessed the name, Ideal Ice Creams. Okay. Ideal Ice Creams does not have a presence outside Mangalore. Forget not even in Bangalore. They have a strong presence in Mangalore. 80% or like 70-80% of the market share in Mangalore ice creams is predominantly captured by Ideal Ice Creams as a brand. Okay, it's a very strong brand, but they were very clear. Mangalore market we will eat. So they become a very strong player. The brand recall is high. Then what they did, instead of shifting from Mangalore to, they tried actually shifting to Bangalore. They were not able to get success in Bangalore. Bombay-based natural ice creams is one brand. Okay, started in Bangalore. Quality ice creams got took over by the thing. So there are local brands, ice cream, there are very strong local pockets. Or in Tamil Nadu, people are there. So I'll give them an example. Kalimark. Bovanto is one brand which is so strong. Just like how Thumbs Up was, Coke took over Thumbs Up and was not able to replace Thumbs Up even till date. Okay, so Kalimark, Bovanto is still a very strong brand, very strong brand, but local brand. But they are very clear. This market, we want to be the market shareholders. I mean, because brand recall is high. It is better to have mathematically both are same. 10% market in a 90% market share, or a 90% market share in a 10% market segment. Both are same, but recall becomes high when in a small market I have a recall value. Okay, in a small class, the person who gets 70 out of 100, okay, is a stronger brand in a chota college rather than a person who's got 90 in the topmost college outside. For him to create a brand in a top IAM will be tough for him, but if he was in a smaller college, it will be easier for him. So understand, it's always better to, simpler example, I don't put immediately, I just wanted to give you an example. Okay, don't quote the words, for understanding purposes I gave that example. So marketing, one of the basic importance is find a place where there is no competition. Why? Then my brand recall becomes stronger. That is why this particular picture. So anybody has got any questions on this, please ask me right now, because this is going to be the basis of we understanding the BCG matrix and the life cycle matrix. Anybody, any questions? So don't take that area, take that other area. It might not be your best thing that you do. It could be the second best thing that you do. But if there is no market, it still makes sense to play there. Like I'll give one more example. Quicker and OLX, both are very similar products. OLX came first in the market and they captured the market segment or the position in their product like kuch bhi bech de. Anybody can sell anything on Quicker. That was what Quicker OLX started with. OLX started with kuch bhi bech do. An old lady in the advertisement comes and does all that. Son has gone to office and she sells the sofa and making money, or vacuum cleaner has been purchased, whatever. Quicker came a bit late. They realized that this market of the end users has been captured already by OLX. So what they did, they changed. The product was same. So they started targeting the middlemen, the brokers. That is why their advertisements. One guy will talk to one real estate agent will be talking to one lady. मैंने आपको 22,000 बोला था पूनम जी. अच्छा पूनम राय नहीं, पूनम अग्रवाल बोल रहे हो. Basically, and then they say Quicker saves chats. The software wise, Quicker and OLX are very similar. Both save chats. Both had the option. But they realized that this place competition is there. It is tough for me to, because first more advantage has already been taken by OLX. So I have to start and take a different market. That doesn't mean you can't grow. After you build a strong brand, you can shift to another market. Okay, so Quicker came out with Quick Cars. Then they came out with Quicker Homes. But their term and target segment were the middlemen, the brokers. Okay, similar to example, Ideal tried in Bangalore, they were not able to. So then what they did, they started making their other products, Ideal Dosa. Today, Corona times, people are not able to spend money on ice creams. They have started Ideal Instant Dosa Mix. Okay, they have something called as a ghee roast. So they have started selling those instant mixes into the market. So that because the brand was strong, when they did something else, it comes. Okay, so this is one example. So anybody has got any questions on this part of value proposition part? Creation, we will talk about how to create value, we will come to it. But any questions on value proposition, please ask me. Let us understand and brainstorm before we take. Let's take 2-3 minutes. So please ask questions if you have any. Please ask. Hello? No questions means dangerous. Hello? Am I going too fast or am I boring? I do not know. Any feedback? Hello? When people don't ask, it's very dangerous. Are they there or watching the RCB versus RR?
No, sir, it's proceeding.
No, we are there. We are there.
Okay, fine. Okay.
We are there, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let's continue. By the way, anybody knows the score? I also would love to know the score. Okay, fine. Okay, one mistake now that has been during creating value propositions. One thing often gets sidelined. Okay, because just because I am unique, that is not enough. Okay, unique is not value creation. Unique can be an attention creation. It does not create value. It can create the attention. I am the most unique guy. Everybody wears formal. I wear red pant and a black shirt with a white tie and talk like Upendra, one of the actors of Karnataka. Okay, I am unique. But his movies are also creating value proposition. So just having those dress is not creating the value proposition. You can get attention. So one thing we need to be taking care of is just being unique is not enough to guarantee you value creation. So just take care of this one part. The key here is value creation. And that happens in that area where the two things are getting met. What the customer wants and what you do well. So once that marriage happens, that's how value gets created. Okay. Now I'll give you some examples from perspective of different products that we saw in our product portfolio. All of you, the moment I say about Panchatantra, the first thing that comes to your mind was a teacher who thought innovatively. That's why this particular picture has been put. Okay. Even till date, four kids who are not very strong academically were transformed through the art of storytelling. Okay. Where through art of storytelling, they understood worldly knowledge. And that was the essence which was done by Panchatantra. So for creating value in your teaching sessions, these are some of the factors. You pick which suits you. Everything might not suit you, but you have to find that one value proposition of one thing. Let me put on all this thing. So you decide which is going to be my value creator in my sessions. If I want teaching or an expert session to be a value creator. Okay, for example, content. There are some people whose content is amazing. Okay, their gyan, their knowledge is phenomenal. So these are the people, when they do an expert session, people come, sit and learn. Okay, and like Anuradha ma'am, when I was having a discussion with her 4-5 days back, She gave me a name of one gentleman from Karnataka. Ma'am, can you repeat the name? Unmute yourself, ma'am.
Sorry, Professor Tasu Shamaraya.
Before independence, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Before independence, he used to do classes in the evening, and people used to come outside his classrooms, students, non-students, and they used to learn from him. And it seems the day he retired, there were around 20,000. How much, ma'am?
20 to 30,000 students.
And they were not, they were all his alumni, not current batch students, at an age where the Facebook was not there, Twitter was not there, and they took entire Mysore, they took him for a 4 hours procession on a palanquin, it seems. So that is the value add that they brought him, because it would be because of content driven. They were so strong. Similarly, Nanasa Patkiwal or somebody in Bombay, every day after the budget, 2 p.m. was his lecture live in Bombay. That people used to rush, all CAs would come to see his expert opinions on the budget immediately after the budget session. That was a much wanted thing. So if your focus is content driven, stick to content driven. That is your
Sir,
USP.
sorry to interrupt.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, sir?
Ma'am, I don't know. Anuradha ma'am gave me this name. Anuradha ma'am, is it Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan? No, this is in Mysore. This gentleman was supposed to be in Mysore.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. What was the question?
She said the name of the person was it Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan.
Illa, Tasu Shamaraya.
Okay. Well, I think
Invariably for Radhakrishnan also they did the same thing.
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. But they are strong brands. They were strong brands. My point of view is they were strong brands because they had content. They were content-wise, they were very strong. Second, suppose content might not be very strong. I'll give you one example of mine. I will rate myself average in content or slightly above average in content. I'll be very honest to admit it. But I kind of focus on giving the end user the experience that they want out of the session. The learning objectives which we talk of, learning outcomes, if that meets what is expected, that could be one of your UEPs, one of your mine. If you ask me very clearly, since I'm also talking about this, the best part and the worst part about this session is I'm going to share with you what I do. Okay, so my focus is in my sessions, it is predominantly my value proposition is market needs something, my audience. When I say market, my audience, it could be students, it could be faculties, it could be corporates, wherever I'm doing the workshop, they expect this. This should be the outcome of the session. Tick mark, that is my value proposition. So if that can be your value proposition, pick that. Participatory sessions. There are some people who are very good in storytelling. I have a very close friend of mine. I don't know if she's come today, Tamarai ma'am. She is an amazing storyteller. She teaches sessions through stories. Okay, now that's her value proposition. She says I can teach any subject through stories. Tick mark. That could be your value proposition. Bloom's higher order learning. Can you take your students to the next level to apply the knowledge? Use case studies, use gamification. We'll talk about gamification. A lot of requests have come about gamification, but I'm just wondering how to do it on a session here. Probably we'll do one session later on. So Bloom's higher order learning. Are we teaching our students to think rather than by heart stuff? That could be your value proposition. If it's application based or what we call as experiential learning, that could be your tick mark, tick mark. Innovative assignments. Forget the teaching style. This thing is innovative assignments. Yes, Subramaniam sir, you have a question? Please feel free. Just unmute and speak. I'm perfectly fine. Subramaniam sir, you have raised a hand. Hello. Okay. Subramaniam sir, I think by mistake. Okay. So you find out what is your value proposition, what is unique to you, what is it that you can pick, or what you have inherently. So this was some of the pointers which I thought you can use to create a value proposition in teaching sessions and expert sessions. So this is one pointer which I wanted to share. So let's go to the next and then I'll take questions. Anybody has got a question, any point in time, just unmute and speak. I'm perfectly fine. I'm not a person, because I believe interaction increases the value of the session. So let's now come to the next one. Suppose talking about research papers and case study creation. There is a huge market. I'm using the word market. Okay, there is a market for quality research papers and case study creations as well. If you can create good quality case studies and research papers, there are corporates who will willing to invest on you to do research for them or create case studies for them. But these are some of the value adds that can be used. One is extensive and authentic research. The key. If you are doing a research with a lot of people and they are authentic, that could be your value proposition. Need of the hour study. The moment COVID started, a lot of people who started jumping into COVID-based studies, they understood, they seized the opportunities. It was a study which was done for the need of the hour. How do I downsize? Is there a HR process for downsizing? Is there a HR process? Do I understand the return on investment for removing people, truncating people, or putting them on hold, offloading basis? There were case studies which got developed by corporates for understanding the pros and cons of all these things. Need of the hour kind of study. Market driven subject. Understanding the mindset of market. Facebook is still, let me put a pointer here. How many people know about the Facebook 10-year challenge? How many people participated in the 10-year challenge? Some tick marks, especially youngsters. Facebook brought about a challenge. You all know that? At least you all know that? Or they had to put 2 photographs, one 10 years old and your current photo, and 10 years old photograph. They have said post it in Facebook. Did anybody here participate? Anybody participated? Please be honest.
No.
Nobody? Okay, all senior citizens, all my age group. Okay. Okay. You know why it was done? It was done because Facebook has started investing in an automatic, basically artificial intelligence based software to find out how people will look 10 years after. Understand the beauty. To understand how people will look 10 years after, they needed tremendous amount of data to find out how a person looked 10 years before, and this is the current picture. Look at the beauty. 10 years back, a person who looks like this today. So this kind of data that I get, I can use it to understand how people will look after 10 years. This was done with a specific reason to get data, and people left, right, and center shared their photographs on Facebook. Absolutely fine. It was a marketing strategy which worked. Okay, so they had enough data now to understand how people will look 5-10 years after. So that was a market-driven subject. The research was done by Facebook from understanding, because they wanted to go to the next level in terms of AI and the artificial intelligence platform. So that's one thing. Then, okay, talking about research paper and case study, khana, the eating part. There are some restaurants which might not be having the tastiest food. They might not have the nutritious food, but they know the art of presenting. Okay, if your case study or your research can be presented, that could also be a UEP. Okay, the way you speak can be a UEP. The way you present your paper, the content, the flow of this thing, the movie, that could also be a UEP. So let us not discount on placing. Even today, there is one, there's one restaurant where you eat pan and smoke comes out of the mouth. No, that is their UEP, the presentation. People don't like pan, but they want to experience smoke coming out of their mouth. So they go and have the pan there. So this could be a UEP. So let us not discounting the packaging part of it or the presentation part of it. Sometimes it's not the chocolate that sells, it's the wrapper that sells. So let us focus on, but I'm just putting in, you decide which matters to you. Okay. So you pick up what could be your UEP from a research perspective. Let's now come to the next one. The third one is author or content creation. Whether you are a writer of a book or a content where you start creating, YouTube videos of your lecture.
Somebody one.
Yes, sir.
You have left that last point. Did you say that is what plating the content is?
Plating is basically, I took it from a recipe, khana, food. Plate. Okay, how do you bring it on the plate? The look and look part of it, the presentation part of it. Okay, packaging part of it. Okay. So research is more or less related to cooking, right? So cooking might be good, the taste might be good, but presentation is also equally important. Some restaurants will sell because of the ability to present. Especially you go to 5-star restaurants, or the first hotel which came with the cap-based dosa was probably the innovator at that point in time. Let us not go further. There is one restaurant in, I think a place called Katil or something on the way to Mangalore. That guy gives you coffee where milk is below and coffee is below, milk is on top. 2 layers. Anybody, can you tell me which place is that? Somebody from Mangalore? It's called KT, tea or tea, I guess, right? Tea is below, black tea is below, milk is on top, and layers will be separate with a spoon in between. When you mix it and stir it, it becomes the tea. They sell, and you will find BMWs and big cars standing outside a small restaurant. It's not even a restaurant. It's a dhaba kind of thing where people have chai and then only go. It's called KT. Okay, it's a very strong local brand. Their local brand is not because of taste; it's because of their presentation. The way these get presented. Okay, so presentation, don't discount it. Why I'm saying is, a lot of times people say presentation is not everything. No, I am building a brand on presentation. So be it. My value proposition. There's no competitor in presenting. So be it. I am creating a value in presentation. Let us give a small example. Anybody still has an opinion? Presentation is all said and done, Ramni, I accept it. But presentation should not be the only way to create a brand. I'm sure there will be some people who still think that way. Anybody? Be honest. Thumbs up, please. Ramni, it's a fine point, but presentation should not be the only way to. Anybody? Come on, yeah. Nobody. No finger raising. Kaladaka, yes, ma'am. Okay, Abhay Pai says presentation kitna bhi ho, that should not be the main thing. One honest guy. Okay, because this is one thought process that says, how can presentation be detrimental to creating value? Let me tell you one thing. I might hit people hard, but sorry if I'm hurting people. Matrimonial ad comes with wanted fair and beautiful lady, or wanted a fair and handsome guy. This is not presentation. Why do we dress well for dates? Why do we dress well for meeting people? It is because looks are important, whether you like it or not. It's a sad truth, but it is a valid truth. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm not getting into it, but I'm saying people start. Our gods also, Krishna is supposed to be dark complexion, but we paint him blue because we don't want to see God in black color. Okay, I mean, I'm not getting into anything on religion, but a fact of life. So presentation is an art. Okay, so let us stick to it. Let's not go beyond that. Okay, so let me come back to screen share. Yeah. So the next point which I wanted to share is the UVP for author of books or YouTubers. If you want to create content or video content, and I'm sure we should start taking the plunge here. There are two things which the market actually has opened faculties who have started taking a lot of online sessions. Take that as a blessing in disguise. Start creating 5 minutes videos. There is one gentleman, very close friend of mine called Rajshekhar sir. He started creating content on YouTube and sharing it with social media marketing. Pick your area of domain. There is one more gentleman who has started taking sessions on accountancy. One topic, 10 minutes, because the retention span of an individual is not more than 10 minutes. So make 10 minutes, one subtopic, one example, and just start flooding it. Go slow, no problem. Go organic. You don't have to go exponential in terms of increasing your database. Go organic, but start. It's a take COVID as a blessing in disguise. We have a lot of free time at our disposal. Our travel time has reduced. We have got comfortable to looking at the camera and talking. 6 months back, if I had shared this idea, even I did not do a single session, especially for my web meetings. So that is something. There is a huge market. There is, in fact, Byju's has now started coming with online classes beyond video content. Now they are talking online classes. So that is one area where you can start working on it. Now understand here also, these are value additions where you can create value. One is understanding what the market wants, or focus could be on your research, your content. Please make sure, one small tip here, please make sure that you start giving version updates to your video sessions or your books. Don't say I have written one book enough. Kotler even till date comes out with a new edition every year. Okay, and every year the books get sold, because you cannot say what I have done 5 years back is still valid today. No, you're out of business, you're out of reality. So that is one area where I say keep coming with your version updates, whether it's a video session or it is an online session, or it is a book that you're writing. Version updates are the need. One thing which you need to focus, one extra thing that you need to focus on when you're focusing as an author or a content creator portfolio, screenplay is equally important. A session screenplay is not important. Of course, it is still largely important, but you need to understand how do you play the content, because especially if it's a video content, people are sitting with remote in their hand. Okay, if my starting is not engaging, I will switch off the remote, or I will go and start looking at another video which is popping on the same topic. So there are 2-3 ways to create content, curiosity. One is 2 styles predominantly followed. I will share that style in video. One is story first, details later. This is the style which is normally used by a lot of people, very easy to hold on. If I am not a very powerful speaker, suppose if I am not a very powerful speaker, then use this way, it works. What I do, I create curiosity. I tell the headline and then I start giving the details. The headline holds on to people and the details make sure that it is fulfilling what I am expecting. If I'm a powerful speaker, we can do the reverse, where I start giving the content first and the suspense end. Okay, I build the suspense and give the suspense in the end. Why? Because the person can hold your attention. So if you're a strong presenter or you're very strong in communication and you can hold on to people's attention, then use this way. Create the suspense, build the suspense, and then give the suspense in the end. But if I'm not a very good speaker and I'm an average kind of speaker, then I want my content to support me, then bring the outcome first. This is what you will get in today's session. and then you start. So it works both ways, but these are predominantly two styles: story first, details later; details first, story later. So this is how you build up the thing. Again, here also presentation becomes the key. Invest a little bit on good quality cameras and the background this thing, because that also holds on to attention in YouTube. Anybody has a question before or shall I take question after this? This is my last one.
Yeah, continue.
Okay, sorry. So collaborations. Now, if you're working with another company, now here I'm talking about admissions. See, let us not discount. Okay, I'm not going to make here very dangerous sweeping statements against colleges or for colleges. I'm not. Admissions can get people revenue. If you have a good YouTube base, you have a good networking base. If you are strong in network, build a USP on network, build a value proposition on networking. If student comes and guides you which college admission should I take, there is revenue there as well. Suggesting a call, whether you make revenue or you don't make revenue, I will not leave it. I leave it that to a personal decision. But there is a brand value, a brand influencer telling or giving people advice. Again, I always connect everything to doctor. When the doctor tells you that do a blood test in this particular medicinal lab, okay, we all know for a fact that he makes commission there, but we don't even think whether it is right or wrong. Let's be honest with that. Okay, so I'm just connecting everything with the doctor example. So understand that's absolutely right, wrong, we'll not talk about it, but there is a brand value, because you are not giving a wrong judgment to people. Doctor is not giving you a medicine because he wants to make money. He is giving you this medicine because he knows this is this, and in the process he is making some revenue. Absolutely fine. Influencing role, you could if you have a good influencing capacity like mentorship, that's one area where you can build a brand. Networking is also a skill which not everybody has. The ability to network and reach out to a lot of people. I'm very sure start focusing on that. If that is your strength, get into placements or in your college, take the added role of a placements for an officer or a director or whatever you can get, because that is one area where you can build a good target base, and that can get you to corporate connects, that can get you to sell something to the colleges or doing MDP program. You can get into the next level of consulting very easily by a roadmap of collaborations. Okay, consulting assignments, advisory boards, few areas where you can actually bring connections. Here, content quality is by default necessary. You need to have the requisite expertise in a particular domain when you're doing connections with VCs. This is one area which is coming in very strongly. You don't have to go today. IPO is not the only way to generate big money. In fact, reaching out to VCs can actually become a big way to generate money. One point, and you so start networking. If you get a chance to meet any VCs, don't ever miss that opportunity. You never know when that contact can come handy. Mentoring companies, if you're good quality consultants, then mentoring could be a value creation. Industry experience could be a value creation. There are a lot of faculties who come to the faculty domain with industry experience. So that is their USP, that is their value proposition. Because the way they look at a subject is going to be totally different than somebody who's come from an academic perspective. Both have its own intrinsic values. One person will pitch in on his industry experience, one other person will pitch on research experience. Both are equally important. But how do I create a value? By getting into something which is my area of specialization. I have this core intrinsic value, so I'm going to it. One area where you all need to, this thing is being articulate. If somebody can cover a topic in 5 minutes and explain that to a small kid, that is one area of expertise of that particular value creation that person does. There are few faculties who can actually explain the toughest subjects to a 5-year-old bacha in 5 minutes time. If that could be your value proposition, if you have mastered that art. Now, making simplifying things, rather than very complicating stuff and putting all jargons. If people understand concepts, that's more than enough. So that could also be a value creator, because when you are in board meetings, you don't have time at your disposal to give presentations. So can you do a 30-second pitch? Can you do a 1-minute pitch? Especially when some of the VCs, some of the companies that I'm mentoring, when we go and talk to VCs, they say 2 minutes pitch, that's it. In 2 minutes time, you have to convey your idea and what's the selling proposition, what is in it for them. If you're able to do that, nothing like it. Anybody knows about BNI? Business network. Okay, this is particular this thing where every Wednesday they meet, Thursday they meet once a day in the week, have breakfast together, and everybody shares their proposition in 30 seconds. That's it. 30 seconds you have to say what your company does. So if you're not able to say what your company does in 30 seconds, you're out of business. So that's 30 seconds jingle, 30 seconds you have to talk about what you do. So being articulate is one more this thing which you use. With due respect to all faculty members, let me put about 3 pointers. I don't want to hurt people, but I thought these are 3 hard-hitting facts, whether we accept it or not. Everybody might not be doing it, but I still want to put this on the table. First is tuition earlier, our generation, okay, our generation, 20, 30 years back, tuition was only for the weak students, right? Nobody said tuition is for the intelligent people. And we let the market go outside. Teachers left the market for others to come and play. And today, education industry is one of the biggest growing industries in the world today. Forget India, it's growing. Only Byju's alone is evaluated at $8 billion. Only Byju's, forget the other products which is there in the market. So that's a huge area. The teachers left the market for others to exploit. And thanks to it, now the market has grown. So we also can play a role in that. So I'm not debating it, but there's one fact which I want to share. I get this reason a lot of times in my sessions, especially on NLP, where I'm talking about student psychology. I always get this one thing. Our students are not that, they will not be able to pick up stuff. They will not be able to pick up this. And case studies are not suitable for my students. Let me give only one example. We need to change our case studies. A 25-page case study might not be suitable. No problem. Make it one-page case study. Make a caselet. Change your case study to make it suitable for your audience. Nobody started playing chess, no. We all started with snakes and ladders, then Ludo, then only we started looking at what chess is. Or the first game that we played in cards was bluff. And then we got into something called as rummy, and then we took it to the next level. So your students might not be ready for a chess, but start with snakes and ladders at least. Start with some kind of engaging with students. So the reasons for, so we don't discount that we will not innovate. Let us find out how to innovate so that my students will gauge it. So this is one thing which we need to do, self-introspection. Third point is, whenever two people talk, or whenever we talk about brands, it is always when there's a joining of two brands, one brand will piggy ride on the other brand. Let me explain this and then I'll come to the fact. Why did Paytm, sorry, not Paytm, this is a company that is Dream11. Dream11 sponsored IPL. Who is piggy riding? It's probably a symbiotic relationship. IPL needed a Dream11, Dream11 needed an IPL to propel their brand. So this is one brand is piggy riding on the other brand. In this case, both the brands, IPL is still a very strong brand. That is why there were a lot of players who are willing to bid for the name. Byju's also bid for the name. So there were two strong brands which wanted to piggy ride. I mean, even though I'm a strong brand, an IPL brand is much more stronger. So if I associate myself with this brand, I will piggy ride. Now understand this. The lower brand will always piggy ride. I will share with you a personal example and then we will take it up to the next level. When I started my sales career, my first boss told me, Ramani, if you can go and talk to a customer without your visiting card, that day you can say that you are becoming a good sales consultant or a sales manager. Why? What is the meaning of this is, when I go and send my visiting card, there is a designation that comes. That's one brand. Okay, a designation of a manager is one brand, right? The person comes, let us give an example. I'm a security guard in a particular complex. When a Honda City comes in and a BMW comes in and an Alto comes in and Maruti 8, my salute changes, right? My salute changes. When Alto comes like this, when a BMW comes like this, my salute will change. That is accepted. That's a brand that's a visiting card brand. The person is not getting the brand. It's the car that is you're piggy riding on the car's brand. You're piggy riding on that visiting card's brand. So let us be very clear. This is one area where we need to focus on. What are you piggy riding on other brands? When I'm talking here, let me put it very subtly and with due respect, because I want faculties to understand this thing. Build a brand for yourself. Okay. When you are building a brand, it's not my company which is building my brand. If I say I work in IBM, I work in Hitachi, I work in Microsoft, I work in Intel, that's a brand. So the value is that people are seeing is coming. Value is created, but the value is you are piggy riding on an Intel's brand. You are piggy riding on a Hitachi's brand. You are piggy riding on your designation brand. You are piggy riding on your qualification brand. These are all piggy rides. So intrinsically start focusing on every session that you take, every aspects of your product portfolio. Start asking one question every single time. Am I creating a brand for myself or am I piggy riding on other brands? The moment you start asking this question, trust me, the intrinsic value of your brand becomes stronger. So this is one thing which I want to say. Are you piggy riding on other brands? Ask this question genuinely. Don't ask others. Ask yourself genuinely. You will get a lot of clarity of thought process, because most often the brand value that we think we are getting for ourselves is for a visiting card. It's not probably for me as a person. And that brand value is what is going to get you market. That can get you attention, but getting you market is probably the brand value that you are building for yourself. So this is one area. I have one small this thing. I think this is going to go long. Can we divide it into 2 days? Can we do it on the third? This is the second part, the BCG matrix and the life cycle matrix. Is that okay? Because I think I thought it will finish off in 1.5 hours, but I think it's going. Is it engaging enough?
Yeah.
Would you like to have it in 2 days, or rather than me? Okay, so I'll just finish one more slide and then I'll take around 15 minutes of interaction, so that's more important for me. So all of you can see the slide share. This is one more slide which I wanted to share. So the Beaker brand paid, right? So just focus whether you are figuring on some other brands. Find your UEP. Now this is one pointer, which is probably the last slide which I will share today. All value propositions need not be intrinsic. It is not comes by default. Everybody cannot be a Virat Kohli or Tendulkar. Tendulkar was not probably intrinsic. A lot of hard work has come in. He's not, the same. So you can build your brand. You want to acquire that this area is a market where I want to get in. Make sure that your product or the product portfolio takes care of the need, and then you can acquire it. So there's nothing to say. One mistake which I find with intrinsic brands, value propositions for ourselves is, when we get swayed by others, we go and ask our friends, what am I good at? Okay, this is one of the most dangerous questions to ask your friend, because you might get qualities that is the thing, but that doesn't mean that there's a brand value, there's a need for the market. So understand this thing, don't get swayed, do your own introspection before you jump into question. I have a question coming, somebody has texted something in chat. Okay. Okay, should have acceptance need with the audience. Now this is one area, spend some time. Again, I'm talking from a business perspective. I think the highest rate, I do not know the percentage, I think it's 59 or 69. 69% of startups or any business close, not because the most reason, which is valid reason why businesses close is because, or startups close is because they did not have a customer for their products. Just because they had an idea, they had a product offering, they started manufacturing it, they probably got somebody to fund for it, but they were not able to get a customer. So the most important thing is find the customer's problems and then solve that problem. This is one of the most key areas. So you might be very strong in something. I'll give one example. I was just watching some videos yesterday. There is an Ekshagana artist who does Ekshagana in English. Now this is something, there is a market, there are a lot of people who still want to touch base with their culture, okay, but Ekshagana is fantastic, but if you do it in Tulu or in Kannada, not many people will understand it. So they brought this concept in English. There is a market, but rather than saying I have a product, who is going to buy it, it is always easy to find a customer who has got a problem and solve the problem. So that is something which you need to focus on. So find what is needed by your students audience, what is needed by your books audience, what is needed by your YouTube audience, whichever product portfolio you select, corporate audience, no problem. Find out what is it that they want and then suit your product to have that. Okay, so first is, it need not be inherent, you can acquire it, don't get swayed by it. One more mistake which people do is, they tend to have two brands simultaneously. You can have two value propositions, but you can have only one value proposition, but your product can have people coming in because of anything else also. Because of the strong piggy rating on the other brand, they might come to you. But pick only one value proposition, because you cannot say, I do this, I do that also. Everybody cannot be an AB de Villiers. Even an AB de Villiers was strongly talented in lot of things, still they has built a brand only in cricket. Okay, so pick one brand. You might be strong in a lot of things, but pick one value proposition. I'll give the example which I gave some time back. Marketing, there is one company which actually defined it, the 90% market and the 10% market rule. This company actually changed the equation. Okay, it was a success story. Now it is stagnated. Baba Ramdev, okay, Patanjali got into the market saying that we will capture the entire Indian market. Okay, their position was Swadeshi. Okay, very tough gamble. It worked. It worked not because of marketing strategies, but probably because of the intrinsic brand value of Baba Ramdev, which came to the table. And today they have stagnated. Last 2 years they have stagnated from 2,000 crore company to a 10,000 to 8,500 crore company to a 12,500 crore company. Today they are kind of stagnated. Everybody else has caught up. But there was probably one deviation which I understood. They got into a big bang approach, trying to capture the entire market. But even there, their positioning was more than Swadeshi. Even though Swadeshi was a concept, their piggy rating main brand was price conscious quality products. Okay, their advertisement used to come, Dabur honey this price, our honey this price. They focused the market on price quality products at price. So they focused that very clearly, but they diplomatically handled that we are targeting the entire Swadeshi market. So that's a separate ball game. Not many will be able to do that multitasking or creating brands that I'm an all-rounder. Even an all-rounder is also one brand. I am good at bowling or I'm good at bowling. I'm a batsman who can bat, or I'm a batsman who can bowl, or a bowler who can bat. So you are actually bringing only one thing to the table. Don't mix up too many things of creating multiple brands. That will be dangerous. Okay, this is one thing. So this is one area where probably people in a bid to influence people, you can pitch in your products. Your product portfolio can cater to a lot of things, but focusing on building a brand, focus on only one value proposition at a time. This is what major brands do, and this is what we also need to do. I'll tell you why we need to do this from a faculty direct example. I'll ask you a small example. If I tell you in your classroom, who is the guy who is good in studies? You will pick one person's name. Who is the person who is good in sports? You will pick one person's name. Who is the guy who is good in this? You will pick one person's name. You don't pick up the guy who was second in all the three, because a brand recall comes only for the top guy. Okay. Even though a person might have been second in all the three things that I asked for, but none of you actually picked the brand. Why? Because he was an also ran in all the three places. So building a brand, pick one brand where you will have a no competition. It's unique. And most important, you have the quality and the customer needs it. It might not be your best quality. It could be your second quality which you have. So that is something which you need to especially focus on. Don't do a mistake of creating a brand in multiple ways. It will backfire. It will definitely backfire. Fruity is not getting into the market with multiple brand names. Fruity is very clearly, Fruity is Mera Funda is packaging. Carry home packets. That was their positioning. You can take a Fruity and go anywhere. They are not even competing with a Maaza or a Slice. Maaza and Slice are one is saying juice, and one is saying substitute for mango. So everybody has got in their own particular thing. I'll give one more example. Vicks and Chloromint, similar products, right? Both are same. Both are hard-boiled menthol chocolates. One says I'm a medicinal product. Gale mein kich kich Vicks ki goli do. Sold by Virat Kohli, found in medical shops. Chloromint says after cigarette you will not get caught. It's more as an after smoke found in pan ka dukan. Same cost, same product, same taste, same this thing. But they are capturing different mindsets. They are building a brand by one particular aspect. Okay. Similarly, Cough Sills. I don't know how many people know about this brand called Cough Sills. Okay. Cough Sills says packaging. Same product, packaging. They compete with Strepsils, but they say packaging. The Strepsils get stucky, and those who use Strepsils will know. When you open a Strepsil, there will be two in it. When you open it, the second Strepsils gets sticky. Cough Sills says you can take one, pop it out, put it in your pocket, it will not get sticky. So they are also positioning this brand on packaging. A medicinal product focusing on packaging. That's the ability. Pick one. It may not be. Who thought a medical product on packaging? But they found this is the value proposition which I can bring to the table. Stick to it. So find your USP. So let us open up for question answers. Before we open up for next week, I had actually plans for understanding the life cycle metrics of our products, the entire 4 phases of introduction, growth, maturity, and how we can put all our product portfolios in the BCG matrix and take a lot of strategies on that. I think we will do it on the 3rd Saturday, but I'm open for any questions. Anybody has got any questions and feedbacks, feel free. You want me to cover some more topics, let me know. If I can do justice, I will say. I got a few questions on topics, suggestions from finance. I am not a finance guy, so let me be very clear on that. Anything on NLP, psychology, students, gamification, case studies, we can work on that. Okay, but yeah, anything on any questions on today's sessions, feel free to ask.
I have one question.
Please, sir.
Basically, what happens is during this interview times that we tell them that in the initial status of students, the SWOT analysis is very important. The weakness and the threat area, basically most of them do not know. They know that I'm strong in this. But the weakness and threat area can be known only through their friends. I believe you said something that don't ask your friend, where am I good, what am I weak, or something like that.
Sir, no, 2 things. One is, I never said don't ask your friend's name. I don't take it as facts. Do self-introspection after you take some feedback. Okay. What I meant to say is, you can check the recording also. I never made a statement saying that don't ask your friend's name. Asking your friends and that being a validation that I'm good at it is dangerous.
Okay.
Don't validate that information. And second thing is, I think that is called the, what matrix is that called? That's what analysis, J se chalu hota hai. I know, I don't know, I don't know, I know. It's called anybody knows that metrics name?
Johari window.
Johari window. Thanks so much. Whoever suggested it, thanks so much. Okay, Johari window. Now, a lot of times Johari window is again a perception about you to the other person. Okay, what you're creating. But SWOT analysis and Johari window is slightly different. Okay, my weakness, I know my weakness. Okay, I know my weakness, and I also know there is a threat from competition who might capture on that weakness. Okay, but when I'm focusing on my strength, I'll give you a classic example of personal branding. I can use this personal branding name, personal success. I don't know, our generation people know this gentleman called Ravi Shastri. Okay, cricket player. The highest weakness was he could never play a single ball outside off stump. He was very weak on the outside off stump. I mean, people of that era, but he was one guy who focused on his strength. I will wait patiently till the ball comes on my leg. You put it 100 times outside the off stump, I'm going to leave it. One ball on my leg side, I'm going to hit it for 4. Okay, that was his strength. So he played to his strength, understanding your weaknesses, holding on to your limitations, and playing to your strength. And in the history of cricket, he was the only player who started as a number 11 batsman and became the opening batsman of our country. Okay, so weaknesses does not mean that you are going to fail. It's only about how you hide your limitations. Because people are not going to, in business war, you are not, there's a third person who decides whether you are a winner or not a winner. Unlike a face-to-face duel. No two competitors in a business war face to face. The customer decides who is going, and both of you go. That is why we say don't go with what is your competition strength. Go with what is your strength. There is a market for you. Or try to find that 10% market where there is no competitor, so you can become the market leader there. So that is the beauty about business. It is you fight the competitor, but you don't fight the competitor directly. You fight with yourself. I fight with myself. Very rare. Of course, there are some histories of products which fight face to face. One example, Head and Shoulders came for the first time in India. Head and Shoulders copied what their rival did. They brought their Clinic Plus and Head and Shoulder. They say Clinic Plus shampoo, this is the what comes, and on the right side window they say this is. They actually took the brand name. Okay, for the first time they took a brand name. It was a 1997. It was a wow, what a strategy. Okay, it was unethical strategy. A lot of hue and cry. But Head and Shoulders Clinic Clear, Head and Shoulders in India did exactly what Clinic Clear did in the US market. So they just reversed the roles here. They were first to do it here. So that time it was hue and cry whether it is right, ethical, taking competition's name and say. But business is normally not fought left, right, and center. Pepsi does that. Pepsi does it. Sprite does it. Coca-Cola does not fight directly. They use Sprite to this. And McDonald's and KFC do it a lot. Okay. They fight with each other straight on competition. But most often it is that you try to find out what is your USP and then you focus on that. Did I answer that question?
Yes, I understand.
Any other questions? I hope I'm doing some justice. Some tips on how to take sessions online. Sir, I shall. I have one roadmap on that. I'll share probably November. Sometime we can do a session on how to engage with students. That can be done. Anybody else? Any other question? No questions means nothing understood or everything understood. Yes, sir,
yeah, thank you, Ramani. Sorry I got a bit late because I was in another session. I was attending.
No worries.
Okay, it was really beautiful and a lot of insights to your brand values.
Thank you so much.
It was nice session.
Any questions, okay. Anybody? I would prefer questions. My questions actually help me also think, and in the process I might get some answers.
So one question. Yes. Good afternoon. Actually, when you speak of strengths and weaknesses, so do you find your weaknesses yourself, or the market or the customers tell you that, okay, you are weak in these areas? Should you do a full analysis of your strengths and weaknesses before you start working on something?
You're talking this from a personal branding perspective or from a normal product branding perspective?
No, actually, I'm not talking about branding. You had some inputs for faculties as well.
Okay. So let me put it this way. I'll answer this question both ways. I mean, I might be right, I might be wrong. I'm just putting in my thought process. If I'm talking it from a personal perspective, the faster we are able to find our weaknesses, I think that is the best way to go.
Okay.
I mean, more than others telling you what my weakness is, most of the times I have personal experience. When somebody comes and tells you, Ramani, you have this weakness, mind doesn't accept it. Who are you to say? I'm being honest. The first thought that comes to my mind is, who are you to tell me that? I mean, with due respect, I mean, we are all human beings. Nobody likes to be pointed there for us. Okay, this is one point. So I would put it differently. The moment we start realizing that this is my weakness, okay, and do it. Now there are two strategies that happen. One is, what strategy? One is, do I overcome my weakness, or do I minimize my weakness and play to my strengths? Now both strategies might be right, both might be wrong. Depends upon what weakness or what you follow. Now I'm bringing a brand perspective, and then I will come back to the personal. I'm giving you a jugalbandi. Let me talk about a brand perspective. Maggie happened, Cadbury's happened. It was a mistake, okay, and it was a big weakness, a big threat, right? Both of them decided to acknowledge the mistake and accept the mistake. Okay, galti ho gaya hai, we will rectify it. We did not fight the case. They accepted their mistake, accepted their weaknesses, and found the way. Cadbury's brought in Amitabh Bachchan, who had himself a failure and then risen to success as their brand ambassador, and he came and said, their advertisement was, there was a mistake, but now we are coming with double packing. That was what Maggie started. They started double packing, so worms cannot enter the product. This was their tagline. Maggie also said the same thing, galti ho gaya, mistake ho gaya, but now what they came out with, taste weak, health weak. Okay, so they came out with this concept. So if the weakness is very strong, and that's a dangerous, okay, then it's better to accept and then rectify the mistake. But if it's an also ran weaknesses, then there is one more strategy which we say, play to your strength. You need not be always playing to your weakness. You can always hide stuff. You know, I have a, for example, let me give cricket example. I have a weak player who is a fantastic bowler, but he is part of my 11. I hide him in a field. He's not a good fielder. I can put him into slips or some place where ball aata hi nahi hai. You know, I can actually hide my weaknesses and play to my strengths. So both these strategies are equally good, but it depends upon what kind of weakness is there. So that depends upon individual to individual, brand to brand. But these are the two strategies. One is hide your weaknesses and cover your weaknesses with your strengths and play to your strengths, because there will be weaknesses. Nobody is 100% perfect. But if the weakness is very strong and it's going to kill your brand, then it is time you kill your weakness.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I hope I answered.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody? Any last? No questions. Okay. I shall share with the two things which I need to do. One small announcement before we wind up. I will share the link of today's session. You can share it with your friend circle. And if anybody else wants to be a part of the next session, tell them to register on that on the link, so that I can add them in my WhatsApp. I don't send WhatsApp. I don't create a WhatsApp group because sometimes people say, the database, my phone number gets copied, my email gets copied. So I use a broadcast message. So people who have not added me as in their contact, you will not be able to get my message. This week I sent messages to everybody separately as well. So please add me into your database so that you can on your phone book. Then only you will be able to get my messages. So thanks so much. Wish you all the very best. I hope I did some justice. We're looking forward for a lot of interactive sessions. You can share your feedback. Thanks so much on the WhatsApp. Thank you.
Ramani, when are we meeting again? You said 2 sessions becoming 3. So when is the next session?
Achha, I thought you wanted next week as well.
Ah, okay, fine. That's what I want.
All are okay? I am okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, fine. We'll do it next week.
Okay.
So next week we'll continue this session.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Ramnik. Have
Stay
a
safe,
nice
be safe.
weekend.
Thanks, ma'am.
Have a nice weekend.
Thanks, ma'am.
All of you have a nice weekend.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
sure.
you. Wish you the
Thank you,
same.
sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.